the United States just slashed visa access for Ghanaians and Nigerians, cutting what used to be 5-year multiple-entry visas down to just 3 months, single entry. For many, this feels like a door closing. But now, both Ghana and Nigeria are speaking out. In this video, we break down exactly what changed, how both countries are responding, and most importantly, what you can do to adapt. If you're planning to travel, study, or work in the US, this video is for you. Stick around to the end for practical options and alternatives that can keep your American dream alive. So what exactly has changed? As of July 2025, the United States has reduced the validity of most non-immigrant visas issued to citizens of Ghana and Nigeria, from the previous 2 to 5-year multiple-entry visas down to just 3 months, single-entry visas. This applies to some of the most common visa categories: B1 for business, B2 for tourism, and even F and J visas for students and exchange visitors. What that means is this: instead of having years of flexible access to travel back and forth, applicants now have a narrow 90-day window and must reapply if they want to return. The U.S. Embassy stated this is part of a global visa reciprocity review, a policy that aims to align visa durations with what other countries offer U.S. citizens. But for thousands of Ghanaians and Nigerians who travel for business, education, family visits, or tourism, this sudden shift is a major disruption, and it's triggered strong reactions from both governments. So why did the U.S. suddenly tighten visa access for Ghana and Nigeria? According to the U.S. State Department, this decision is part of their global visa reciprocity policy. In simple terms, the U.S. wants to match the visa rules other countries apply to American citizens. If a U.S. traveler only gets 3 months in your country, the U.S. might offer the same in return. In the case of Ghana and Nigeria, U.S. officials argue that their citizens don't receive long-term or multiple-entry visas when visiting either country. So now the U.S. is applying the same limits in return. But there's more to it than just reciprocity. Behind the scenes, analysts believe other issues may have played a role, including high visa overstay rates and, in Nigeria's case, a reported refusal to accept deportees from the U.S. under certain circumstances. While not officially confirmed, these factors may have influenced the decision. Whatever the reason, the impact is clear. This is not just a technical change. It's a significant shift that affects thousands of hopeful travelers, students, and professionals. Ghana did not take the U.S. visa cuts lightly. In fact, it responded swiftly and diplomatically. On July 11, 2025, Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration issued an official press release addressing the new restrictions. And their tone was clear, measured, yet firm. The ministry began by acknowledging the seriousness of the situation, stating, "The government of Ghana has taken note of the recent changes in visa validity imposed by the United States government and expresses firm solidarity with all those inconvenienced by this development." Now, it's important to note, Ghana didn't deny America's right to change its visa rules. In fact, they recognized that sovereign countries have the right to manage their borders. But they also pointed out that this new U.S. policy substantially varies from the prior reciprocal arrangements that Ghana has kept with the United States. In simple terms, Ghana has been fair to American travelers. Why change the rules now? The ministry backed this up with real data. Between January and July 2025, Ghana issued over 40,000 visas to U.S. citizens. Of those, nearly 29,000 were multiple-entry visas, representing roughly 70% of the total. That's a clear demonstration of openness, fairness, and goodwill toward American nationals. And what about the key issue raised by the U.S. visa overstays? Ghana acknowledged this directly. The ministry said, "We hope for an early resolution of the concerns that have led to the revision of the schedule, which have been confirmed to be overstays. We are committed to ensuring that the conduct of applicants aligns with the visa application procedures and requirements of the United States." That's a powerful message. It shows Ghana is willing to take responsibility where necessary, but also wants constructive dialogue, not punishment. In fact, Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa led a high-level delegation to Washington to open diplomatic talks with U.S. officials. According to the ministry, the discussions were fruitful, and both sides agreed on a framework for ongoing engagement and cooperation. So Ghana's response? It's not about confrontation, it's about diplomacy. They're standing up for their citizens, backing their case with facts, and pushing for respectful negotiations. And above all, they're keeping the door open. Now let's turn to Nigeria. The U.S. visa restrictions hit hard here too. cutting visa validity for Nigerians down to just 3 months, single entry, across major categories like B1, B2, and even F and J visas. So how did Nigeria respond? Interestingly, the government chose a more cautious and diplomatic approach, at least publicly. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs didn't issue an immediate, strong-worded press release like Ghana did. Instead, a spokesperson said the matter is under review and that the government is consulting relevant stakeholders before issuing a formal response. Behind the scenes, though, engagement has already begun. Nigeria's Interior Minister, Olubunmi Tunji-Oho, met with U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills Jr. Their meeting focused on visa reciprocity, migration management, and maintaining strong diplomatic ties between the two nations. The message from that meeting was clear. Nigeria prefers to handle the situation through backdoor diplomacy, not public confrontation. That said, not everyone in Nigeria is happy with the low-key response. Several retired diplomats have voiced their frustration. Some argue that Nigeria should retaliate by limiting U.S. citizens to 3-month single-entry visas as well, just to keep things equal. One former ambassador even said, reciprocity must be mutual, not one-sided. On the other hand, others are urging caution. They point out that U.S. visa policy is often unpredictable, and reacting harshly could lead to further restrictions, especially for Nigerian students and professionals seeking opportunities in the U.S. There's also a theory floating around that the visa cuts may be linked to deeper diplomatic issues, not just overstay rates. According to reports, the U.S. may be frustrated with Nigeria's alleged refusal to accept deportees from Venezuela and other third countries. Though not confirmed by U.S. officials, this issue could be playing a role behind the scenes. So in summary, Nigeria's official stance has been quiet diplomacy. No retaliation, no media battle, just a behind-the-scenes effort to stabilize the relationship. Whether that works in the long run remains to be seen. So what does all of this mean for you, the ordinary Ghanaian or Nigerian hoping to visit, study, or work in the United States? In simple terms, the U.S. hasn't stopped issuing visas, but the new restrictions make the process more limited, less flexible, and more expensive over time. Before, a 5-year multiple entry visa meant you could travel freely to the U.S., attend events, visit family, take business trips, or even pursue opportunities with a sense of stability. Now, with just 3 months of validity and single-entry permission, your entire trip has to be timed perfectly. And if anything changes, you may have to start the visa process all over again. For students, this means tighter timelines to secure admission, enter the U.S., and get your affairs in order. For tourists and business travelers, it means higher risks and costs if you need to reapply frequently. And let's not forget, shorter visa durations also increase the likelihood of denial during reapplications, since you're now applying more often and under stricter review conditions. There's also a psychological impact. These restrictions send a message, not just about policy, but about perception. Travelers from Ghana and Nigeria may feel unwelcome or unfairly targeted, which can influence long-term travel and business decisions. But here's the key point. It's not a total shutdown. The U.S. is still granting visas. The doors are not closed, but they're tighter, and you'll need to be much more prepared to step through them. How Ghanaians and Nigerians can adapt. Now let's focus on solutions, because even with these new visa rules, Ghanaians and Nigerians still have viable options to pursue their goals. First, be strategic about which visa you apply for. If you're planning to study in the U.S., the F1 student visa is still available, and not all categories have been affected equally. The key is to apply early, ensure your documents are solid, and avoid any red flags that could delay processing. If you're pursuing work opportunities, consider looking into employment-based visa routes like the H-1B, O-1 for individuals with exceptional abilities, or even the EB-3 visa, which allows sponsorship for skilled or unskilled workers under certain conditions. Another path worth exploring is the diversity visa lottery, also known as the green card lottery. Both Ghana and Nigeria have been eligible in past years depending on overstay data, and it's a completely legal pathway to permanent residence in the U.S. But it's not just about the U.S. You should also explore other high-potential countries that offer work, study, or skilled migration routes with fewer restrictions. Canada, the UK, Australia, and even smaller European nations like Portugal or Ireland have fast-tracked visa routes for students and skilled professionals from Africa. And finally, adapt your strategy. Improve your documentation. Avoid risky agents. prepare clear travel plans, and most importantly, show strong ties to your home country, because that's one of the main reasons applicants get denied. The rules may have changed, but if you adapt smartly, your dream is still within reach. So there you have it. Ghana and Nigeria are facing new U.S. visa restrictions, but both governments are responding in their own way. While Ghana is engaging with diplomatic urgency, Nigeria is taking a quieter, more strategic route. For everyday travelers, students, and professionals, this shift means it's time to be more prepared, more informed, and more intentional about your visa plans. The American dream may have become harder, but it's not out of reach. If this video helped you understand what's happening and how to move forward, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your support helps us reach more people facing the same challenges. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to Visa Pathway UK for weekly updates on global immigration news, visa tips, and real-world solutions that matter to you. Drop a comment below. What do you think of the US visa cuts? And how do you think Ghana or Nigeria should respond? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.